Welcome back to my Ask a Knitter series, where I answer common questions that I get asked when I'm teaching how to knit. In our lesson today, we're going to take a look at how you can modify a crew neck into a V-neck shape. If you're enjoying these Ask a Knitter series, then please make sure to subscribe. But for now, let's go jump into the lesson. So today we're going to take a look at if you have a crew neck or a circular neck like this, but you want to change the shape and you want to make it into a V-neck. So this is a V-neck. It's a more open shape, but it's one where it's increasing down across here. So when you want to make a V-neck, that has got a different increase rate. It's going to be a very steady increase rate as opposed to creating this circle. First question, a bit like modifying the V-neck into a crew neck or different kinds, the first thing you're going to want to take a look at is how's the sweater or how's the cardigan or whatever garment you're actually working on, how's it constructed? Is it top down or is it bottom up? So if something is top down and you're doing increases like this, it means that, or rather you're shaping a neck like this, means that you're doing increases. To create this curve like this one, you'll first of all be a little bit straight, so it'll come down as far as here, which is going to give you the open part so it's not too high at the front. Then you'll very slowly start doing increases, usually every right side row, and then as it comes in tighter like this, it starts being every right side and every wrong side row, and eventually it's just straight across in the middle. So it means that that rate of increase for the neck increases is changing. It doesn't stay the same. It goes slowly, faster, and then the cast on stitches across there are effectively like having a load of stitches increased all at one time. So that's going to create a curve. If you want to see how that looks, and you can take some knitting graph paper where you can draw out the number of stitches and the number of increases you've got, and that will show you how the front of that neck curves. So that's how to understand what you have when you're beginning if you've got a circular neck like this. So that means that if you want to change it into a V-neck, the basics, there's a couple of basics will stay the same. First one is the width of the neck. So if you want to keep it the same width of the neck, it means that you're going to want overall the same number of increased stitches for that top down design. So you may perhaps say it's 30 stitches wide the neck. If you had that circular one here, you might have 10 slow increases in each side and 10 cast on across the middle. But if it is going to be a V-neck, you're going to want 15 increases, so half of them on one side and half of them on the other. And a V-neck is going to increase at the same rate. So typically you would actually have it increased every right side row. So it's going to come down fairly quickly, and you can even draw on that knitted graph paper how far down it's going to go. Now, if you don't want it to be, maybe that's going to actually finish it up too high and you actually want a deeper V-neck, that's where that graph paper is going to come in, because you can sketch out where you want it to finish, and you might perhaps alternate your increases, maybe have one on every right side row, the next one every second right side row, something like that, so that it spaces it out a bit. But the important thing with the V-neck is you do want straight lines, so you want to have the same thing happen all the way down. That's actually the most important thing with the V-neck, is that the rate stays the same so that the shape remains the same. So that's if you're doing a top down. Bottom up, as you can probably guess, is you're just reversing it. It's going to be the other way around, because you'll start up to here and then you're going to start decreases instead of increases. Same rules apply. You're going to want to have a very steady pace of decreases so that by the time you reach the end, you've got a nice straight diagonal going in each direction that stays the same all the way up. Sometimes what I do when I'm doing a bottom up is I might start it around about where the you've divided for the sleeves and start up to this point. Then when you've decreased enough stitches, I'll just make that final part straight. So it'll be decreases across and then just straight up there. If you're doing a bigger size and that yoke is very deep, that might be too much. So you might actually decide to move the point where you're starting a little bit higher up. If you sketch it out, or if you just draw up how many rows you've got, if you see I need 15 right side rows, so 30 rows in total for my decreases for my neck, but I've got 50 rows, it means that if I started for 50 rows for the yoke, it means that if I started that straight away, I'll have a whole 20 rows at the top with no decreases. So in that case, you might opt to start a little bit higher, do your decreases, and then just have a little bit to play with at the end, so that if you want to shorten it or adjust it, you've still got some rows to go. So those are kind of the big things you want to think about really when you're modifying from a crew neck to a V-neck. How many rows is it going to be worked across? How slowly or how quickly do you want that slope to happen? And how many rows do you have available in that yoke to do it in, so that it's not going to get too deep, or it's not going to leave a really big section where there are no decreases, or in the other case, no increases. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas on the kind of things you're going to want to think about if you're modifying a circular yoke into a V-neck. I hope you enjoy watching today's Ask a Knitter video. If you're enjoying this series, make sure you subscribe so that you will learn all about what's coming up next in the series. Next up, we're going to take a look at how you can take a sweater and modify it into a cardigan. Thank you for watching.